excited to be turning 25 this year, and part of turning 25 is to look back at our own history and our own involvement in South Africa.
An open society is a society that is built on the premise of transparency and responsiveness.
Where women are free from violence, where people can cross borders safely.
The more marginalized you are in society, the greater the risk of persecution, because majoritarianism in society tends to treat marginalized groups as other.
Underpinning all of our work is the philosophy to bring activism to the heart of our grant making.
The South African Social Security Agency is responsible for the management of social grants. Grant beneficiaries started to experience deductions for airtime first, electricity, water. And we started to realize that the confidential data that the state had entrusted to cash paymaster services were being used by other companies. So we initiated a court case to ensure that the right to social security is secured.
In South Africa, currently, sex work is fully criminalized. As a result, sex workers are really kind of on the margins of society with incredibly high levels of stigma. 3 years ago, we launched the Asijiki Coalition for the decriminalization of sex work. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I think we've slowly over the years been seeing the gains.
One of the things that was amazing about post-apartheid South Africa was the idea that the courts, which have been used for the longest time to oppress Black South Africans, were now open as a place where people could go to make their claims. Marikana having been in a big moment where the South African government, through the use of the police, shut down that strike, but in doing so killed 36 people. It was important for us that we didn't just simply represent the families in the commission, but made sure that in 20 years' time, when the story of Marikana was told, it was told from the perspective of those families. I have been to court on behalf of people who themselves did not believe they'll be able to vindicate their rights. But because of our judicial system, have been able to do so and have had their humanity affirmed because of it.
The way our constitution is designed is it gives the judiciary a very important role, and that is the role of ensuring that the constitution is observed and protected and fulfilled.
The judiciary honestly has been one of our biggest and strongest levers that we've been able to utilize.
The law is a powerful tool, and we use the Constitution to ensure that the rights that are in the Bill of Rights in the Constitution are realizable and that they actually change people's lives for the better.
The social audit is one of the ways that we can ensure that those rights are respected, where communities themselves actually go around and do research and audit the extent to which services are being delivered, whether it's education, sanitation, electricity, and communities use their own agency to hold the public sector to account.
FISMA School starts in 2015 with students tired of being financially excluded from universities and protesting against the cost of fees. The right to protest is important because it keeps democracy alive. If you're going to have democracy, you need to be able to manage and maintain an open space for dissent.
We're living in a time, I think, when the stakes are incredibly high. The rise in what has been called fake news or the disinformation campaigns.
In South Africa, you've had between 1994 and 2004 a lot of freedom of press and expression, and since then we have had pushback where government has wanted to shut down the space because it has found itself to be the receiving end of the criticism of a free press.
State captures when private interests, or in South Africa's case, a private family, is able to exercise undue power over the state.
The cost of freedom is eternal vigilance. And if we don't keep our public institutions open and transparent, we're going to lose all these major strides that we've gotten over the past 24 years.
We believe that in investigating, revealing wrongdoing and corruption, we're able to ultimately bridge the accountability gap in South Africa and make our democracy stronger and enable citizens to really fight for their rights through the information that we place in their hands.
For many of us, the first victory is being heard. And it's important to have an independent media because there's space for people who are not as powerful to be given a space where their stories can be heard.
key part of our strategy is also about funding good leaders and good change makers.
CALS has managed to create and facilitate a space where you get young Black people who are passionate about public interest law work coming into the sector.
We are a long way to working ourselves out of a job, but what we would like to see is just greater equality across the board.
There's a lot of recollection of the history of Open Society Foundation South Africa in particular, where it came from, how it's transformed, the three principles that it has promoted: freedom of expression, independent judiciary, and a strong civil society. Challenge for us going forward is, how do we as OSF-SA start examining that question of economic inclusion and economic justice?
I don't think South Africans realize that we are unique and we should protect that. The fact that NGOs can take governments to court. You can't even take a president of the country to court to force them to deliver on that which the Constitution promises.
We may get impatient that change is not coming as fast as we would like, but I do not despair about the ability of our grantees who are located in civil society to do something about those challenges. And if ever there was a place where philanthropic investment and social justice funding is compelling, I think South Africa in 2018 is probably the place.